Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. First, I would like to thank each and every one of you who has subscribed to my channel and the likes. And mostly, I would like to say thank you guys for the feedback that you have given regarding the topic that I was doing awareness of depression. To my friends, family that is going through recovery, I'd like to say to you guys, keep up the good work. Don't stop, as it is beneficial for you to recover and be in your sanity. That's what matters. Sanity is what matters. So today, guys, we'll be talking jealousy at work, toxic people at work, toxic colleagues, colleagues with borderline personality disorder. So, as you all know, that this is my story. This is my journey that I'll be talking about. So, I remember when I used to work for this department. Actually, it was two departments, and I was very much fortunate, guys, to work for both departments because they were intertwined, even though the money did not change, and I did not mind um, being the face of the company, face of the department, without the payment that I was entitled to, because I was there to learn. I was there to learn, and it's the experience that I needed as well. So, as I was working for this department, obviously, when you get there as an intern, there are employees that are already permanent, and when you start as an intern, probably you won't start as the only intern. So, on my case, I was not the only intern. There were other interns as well. So, when trouble started for me to experience toxic colleagues, it was in 2021. That is not, if I'm not, yeah, I'm not mistaken, it's 2021. So it was an intern and others, permanent colleague of ours. They had formed a bond, and their bond was not based on a true relationship that they have formed, but it was based on destroying other people at work. And I would like to think it was, their focus was onto me. So what happened is, how it started actually started on a simple phone call. So it was early in the morning. It was not even 8:30, and a call came through, and I had to answer that call. So I took that call, and when I answered, it was an emergency call that it also included one of our staff members. And when I listened to details of the call, I had to protect the person that it was going to affect. So when I went to report this to the team, I had to not mention all the details, because this person that I was trying to protect was there and listening. So I took this call, and I went and reported what was the call about to the emergency team. So they took the instructions and they ran with them, and they made their way out. So another call came through, and in the office there was other interns that were there, and as the phone was ringing, they were just sitting, guys, not responding to the call. They decided to leave the call unattended. And when I got in, I was like, okay, let me rather first answer this call. So I took this call, I answered the call, and the call, if I had it clear, it wanted one of the interns that was sitting next to the phone and decided not to answer it. So I answered the call and then passed the phone to this lady, and I was like, you know, you are sitting next to a phone and you are not answering, yet it wants you. And then I gave her the phone, and then they talked and talked, and unfortunately I also apparently I did not hear the caller that she was looking for our supervisor. So she hung up, and then she blew it out of proportion, the caller, and then called the supervisor and then said I was rude to her. Yet on the phone call, I answered the call and I passed the call to the intern, because the intern and the supervisor, they almost have similar names. So I thought she wanted the intern. So the intern started to get an ammunition for her to actually use it against me. So, okay, as the day went by, the supervisor was then called to the main office. And when he got there, apparently he was then told that I was rude over the phone by the caller. The caller did not want the intern. She was actually looking for the supervisor, but I decided to be rude. So the supervisor came back and then asked what happened, and I told him what really happened earlier on. So I was like, no, sir, what happened is everyone is around and the phone is ringing. As it was ringing, I was outside reporting that there's an emergency, and when I came back, no one decided to answer the call, so I had to quickly take it. And as I took it, I thought that this lady is actually looking for the intern, but unfortunately it was not her that she was looking for. She was actually looking for you, and I did not know. So what I said before passing the phone, which I've worked for a call center, guys, and I know that when you are speaking to a client, there are certain things that you are not supposed to say. Even if you are not talking to the supervisor, you have to mute the call. So that's the mistake that I did. I did not mute the call. So instead, I lashed out on the intern. That's what I did. That's the mistake that I did. So I lashed out on the intern that how can you sit in front of the phone, yet it's ringing and you are not answering it. So the supervisor did understand where I was coming from, and he said, you know, guys, you cannot be all here and wait for someone who's outside to come back and answer for the phone. Yes, we know that she is stationed there to take calls, but you guys are also here to do the very same thing. Although it's her full-time thing to do it, because we have assigned her to be on that front desk, but it's still, that does not mean that you guys should be taking the call when there's an incoming call, and especially that you guys know that we are working for an emergency services. Okay, fine, we moved on, only to find that this intern lady told the other guys that, listen guys, since this one thinks she's permanent and she's acting like she's better than everyone else, which I did not understand how I was acting better, but fine. I probably rubbed her demons and I made them dance with my confidence. So she told them that they must not answer the phone. I must run wherever I am. They are not going to answer the phone. And that was the case. They all stopped taking the calls, because sometimes I would see, even if I'm in a toilet, I had to run back to the station and answer the phone because no one is answering, yet they are around the phone. Fine. That passed, we moved on. So as the intern is friends with the other permanent lady, and the permanent lady, when I first started there, yeah, I was told that she's not gonna like me because of how I carry myself. Guys, I'm such a lady. That's how I carry myself. I'm such a lady. I'm bubbly. I'm outgoing. I'm spontaneous, and most of all, when I'm assigned into doing something, I make sure that I stand out. That's who I am. So I made sure that I stand out, not because I was competing with anyone. It's just who I am. That's that's who I am, and I can't change it for anybody else. So one day, these two ladies, they went to town together, and on their way, apparently they were talking about how I have occupied the space. Mind you, the seats that I was occupying at that department, it was not even vacant because it had someone, but unfortunately that person had too much on also on her plate due to work, so she could not handle everything because the department, it's big and it has so many things to do. So I was the fortunate one to be picked and assist her. So she later resigned, and then I had to take over and work for these two departments because now they are intertwined and there's no other department without the other. So I had to work for both of them and be always at the forefront, at the front desk, you see. So apparently they did not like that. And the intern that I was doing the leadership with, um, she's been in and out of that department. Actually, in the whole town, she's been doing so many leadership, but she was not fortunate enough for her to get a permanent employment, which is not my fault. I do not know what are the reasons she was never hired till today, and I was never interested either. So the lady's advice, the one who was permanent to her, was that you've been an intern for quite a long time and you haven't been hired. Now the space is vacant and this one will take it if you are not awake. So we need to make sure that she moves. Guys, guys, they made sure that their plans succeed. And eventually their plans did succeed, hey? So this is what happened. So as they went to town and they were conspiring against me, so on the day, what happened is when they came back to town, there was a rumor about one of our interns doing other odd jobs outside the department, and the mistake that I did was to actually intervene and ask the intern who did not want to answer the phone, that in all that you are saying, how are we all involved in this? And things started to heat up from 0 to 100. That was bad. Wagubi. The focus now changed from the one who's doing odd jobs, asking that how are you guys spreading things that are not true about me, you see. So that's when I intervened, when the one who did not want to answer the phone who answered, but also you guys did say something about me when I was doing my other job, and that's when I intervened and asked, why don't you ask who said those things? Because I was saying that because I knew, see, the person who said everything about her doing another job, it was her best friend, the permanent worker. Because when I came back as well from the COVID pandemic, the level 1, when I came back, she told me, yo, this one is working for this department, which is now no longer the one that we're working for the other one, and she's working there and no one knows, so she's getting double pay. was like, okay, and did not respond. All right. And then the other intern as well, who happens to be a prophet, she was apparently doing odd jobs. So this rumor spread, and I heard about it, but I did not entertain because I didn't know how true it is. So now I started to ask, when njengoba usithi thina we said you were working while it was we were under lockdown, who told you that? Because mina ngiyamazi umuntu oyishilo leyo nto leyo, but you are blaming the wrong people. Yeah, from 0 to 100, baba. Girl got angry. She changed the focus to me, and she was like, yeah, wena you are bitter and you think you are better. The focus is all on you. You want to be loved by the supervisors. Guys, I had a best relationship with my supervisors. I had a wonderful time working for that department because of the skills that I showed, the commitment that I showed. I was genuine. That's who I am. I'm genuine. When you're around me, the energy, it's always on par. So I guess that rubbed them off, and it made their demons dance when they are around me. So they did not like that I was liked and I was understood by a lot of people, and even other colleagues that were working that are working for that department who are permanent. We started to form relationships, and others would ask for favors from me, like personal favors, work favors, assistance, and I was always there for everyone, even for the both of them that did not like me. I was there for them. But I told myself that, you know what, I'm not going to change for people who just don't like competition for no reason. People who suffer from borderline personality disorder. You can't be a person and not like everybody you work with. So the lady that is permanent did not like anyone, even the one who is her friend. She did not like her because she would say things and would get surprised, would say, how can you utu umgani and you say all these bad things about your friend? And so on the day of the fight, guys, the focus changed from the one who was asking about Buti when Zamanyama odd jobs outside the main job. It changed to me. Hey, guys, I've never seen anything like that. Mind you, at the time, I was still working on myself, still working on how depressed I was, how anxious I was, how angry I was. And now, here I was being attacked. And I was like, hey, this girl, she can't be serious. Attacking who? Me? Now she's playing with fire. I started to go back and forth. Hey guys, it went bad. To a point of her to say, ngixabanisile emsebenzini, ngixabanisa abantu abapermanent, and I think I'm gonna be permanent. And I was like, who did I xabanisa now? Come with the names. And she says the names. I'm like, trying to put 2 and 2. And the person asking him ngixabanisa bona. Both those people are like sisters to me. And I know they've got no filters. They were gonna come to me, how can you say such things about us? Guys, fine. The fight went on and on. And mind you, we are at work. It's still working hours, but we were close to knocking off. So we continued. So the girl who's an intern then says to me, yeah, you wear a weave here at work, you wear heels, who do you think you are? You know very well that in this department you don't wear like that. I'm like, how? So all along you've been having a problem with how I dress, with how I style myself. Girl, you cannot be serious. That's not my problem. with how you dress and how I dress. You dress the way you want to dress, and I dress the way I dress. For as long no one has come to me and said, Solofelo, your dress code, it's not okay, then I don't see a problem. And no one has ever come to me, guys, to say the way you dress, it's wrong for this department. Mind you, I'm an intern that has no uniform. A front desk. I mean, you can't be a front desk and you at the front desk and looking very crusty. You must be on par. So I made sure that, I mean, I need to represent the department, and I made sure that I represent. So as we were arguing, she then mentions other things. Yeah, ever since we started, you've been all over the place. La ngisebenza khona ufuna khona. Hey, ngimamele ngithi no, she can't be serious. You are always everywhere. Where I am, you want to be at. When we started, I was working on the field. You wanted yourself at the field. When I started, I also did the computer. You wanted yourself in the computer. And I was like, okay. And I asked her a simple question. Sorry, sis, are we all not here to learn? Number one, Mina, I will work wherever I'm assigned to work. I've done field work because I know what I'm here to learn, and I will be on the computer because I know I have to learn, and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So as time went by, like I said, see the lady who was assigned to do the admin, she then later resigned. So guys, even on her resignation, like, I was blamed, like, yeah, but I'll get to that. So while we were fighting, arguing, the security guy is standing outside watching. So angithi mos isikhathi sokushayisa sesiphumile, and now the fight is going outside. This one, no permanent, she's like pushing me to my car. Uthi hamba ningazolwela la, if nifuna ukulwa iya ngaphandle. I turned and looked at her and I was like, you are the cause of all this, because okokuqala uphume nalo ubuya seke angry, seke bitter, seke yiyo yonke lento le, and okokuqala awumtshela ukuthi you are the reason we are having this conversation yokuthi kwaphuma ukuthi uyasebenza somewhere else, where else she's working here. Why don't you tell her the truth? Ngathi, and enye into izovele ngiyenza ukuthi ngizojika ngempama. Hi guys, you know what, please forgive me for not using English on this one. You know, like, your mother tongue sometimes sounds better when you want to make yourself sound clear. Ngathi nje kuya ngizojika ngempama. Mind you, I'm still trying to fight my demons of depression. Most of all, it was that day my buttons were pushed. But what I liked was that I had to compose myself. I had to remember that Solofelo akusigini la, akukwakho la, usemsebenzini la, and that's not how you carry yourself at work. Uzomshaya, uzoxoshwa. So I had to remind myself that I'm at work. You'll get fired. Should you lay a hand, you'll even get arrested, and that's the last thing I want, because I'm a mother most of all. I can't be seen fighting, and then what am I going to say to my kids? What am I teaching my kids? So the fight went on, and then I decided, okay, you know what, let me get in my car and then leave. When I got home, I got so upset because, like, my buttons were really pushed that day. Mind you, this permanent toxic woman, she was all excited about this. She was so excited with how can you tell people that ningazolwela la, iyanwelwe estradini, where else you are saying you are not part of it and you don't like what you're doing, but you say we must take it to the streets. I was ready to take it to the streets. I was gonna beat the both of them, but I said, is this worth it? Is it what I still wanna do with my life? Do I wanna continue being physical with people, especially that push my buttons for no reason because they just don't like themselves? Guys, I had to compose myself that day, and I did. And I did. So when I got home, I parked the car and I stayed in the car. I cried myself out, and yeah, it was so bad because I thought I would never go through such a thing, more especially at work. Yeah, on the streets, yeah, I know people can push your buttons, but at work, I never thought I'll find myself in that situation. But yeah, unfortunately, I did. Yeah, I made a call to my supervisor and I was like, Mr. So and so, I'm sorry, tomorrow I'm not coming back. It was my last day today. What happened is this and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 4, and 5, and 6. And he said to me, but remember, I have always told you that this lady is so toxic, not only to the interns, but also to the whole department, even other departments. They know her that she's like this. So you are not the only one. Come back to work. We will talk about this. You leaving your job for other people, it's not worth it. Come back. I went back to work the following day, miserable as I am. I showed up and we attended a meeting. Guys, things that were said. Okay, they did not call the permanent lady to the meeting. They only called me and this intern, and we had to cough out what happened. We did. And then the supervisor said, you know what? It's not wise for me to hold this meeting alone. I will have to call the other supervisor from the other department. Since Utsolfelo is not only working for this department alone, she's working for both departments, and I'm not her only supervisor. So that makes it to have two supervisors, unlike you. Although you've started at the same time and you've applied for the same thing, but it's unfortunate that Yena, she represents two departments. Okay, the following day or 2 days, um, we held the meeting. And the meeting, what transpired is that this intern girl said a whole lot of lies. That number one, on the day of the fight, Ngamtuga, I saw at her, and also on the phone, on the day of the phone call, I saw at her. And mind you, I have witnesses that were there. And when they were asked, did she ever saw at this one? And they were like, no, there was never, ever any vulgar language from a solo fellow that she said to this lady. Phew. And then I asked her, okay, fine, let's move from that one. You said in permanent. What did I say? And I called both of them and I asked them, there was nothing, guys. Like, there was nothing. She was making that all up. She never came out with an answer. Instead, she went on to say, when a supervisor and you supervisor, since we started with Solfelo, she's been everywhere I work. She's always disturbing me. She wants to see herself everywhere I work. When we started, I was the one on the front desk, and then they said I must teach her how to do a report. And I said, you are correct. They said, teach me how to do a report. Because the computer skills are not the same. No, they're not the same. I'm not boasting, guys, but they were not the same. Okay, she said a lot of things, and I was so surprised to know Guti. Actually, this person, at some point with this intern girl, we're like close, not really friends, but we were close. We were really close, and I was so surprised to learn that actually this is how she saw me. She perceived me as a threat in her life, and I have never posed to be a threat to her. but yet here I am learning that I'm actually a threat. Fine. It went on. On the meeting, she also mentioned that there was another intern who later came, and an intern that she is, she did not want to learn anything. She would come and sit. So I remember one day her saying to me, Solofela, why don't you teach this lady the things that you do in these departments? And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not here to teach anyone who doesn't want to learn anything. That's not my job. If she wanted to learn, she was going to make sure that she does learn, but she decided not to. So that she did not take well. So she took it to the supervisors and told them that, yeah, I remember one day when I told her to teach this white lady how to do the job. Instead, she told us that she won't do it. Solfela is selfish. How can she not teach other people how to do the job? And then what I like, my supervisor, the other supervisor said to her, but you do understand that Solfela is not her job to teach other people without our permission. I was going to ask her, who said you must teach this one the job? Because I never gave you a permission to do that. Mugel kept quiet. Okay, we said everything we wanted to say on the day, and when the meeting was about to be adjourned, they said to us, so you guys, you need to please give each other a hug. So look, fellow, give her a hug. Guys, you can see a person who is sorry and a person who is pretending. I was like, I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to hug her. Instead, I don't want to be in any kind of physical contact with her. But I forgive her. But in me forgiving her, I don't want to be close to her anymore. And I will try and make sure that we don't cross roads, Mina and I. We don't find ourselves in the same path. But I'm not going to give her a hug. And then she was like, yeah! She was like, Nyambon, Pagam, I was like, I'm not going to do it. Even if it's a handshake, I'm not going to do it. No. Because throughout the whole hearing, I was painted as the bad person, yet I have never made her feel small, nor make her feel like she's not worthy of a job. I was so hurt, and I could tell that her sorry was not even sincere, and I was not going to waste my time and hug such a person, handshake such a person. No. No. I was not even desperate for her friendship or having a relationship with her, because when I got to work, that's one thing that I understood, that when you are at work, you are not here to form friendship, but to form a working relationship with your colleagues, and I did exactly that. Mind you guys, I'm a product of Harambee. Shout out Harambee. Those who know Harambee, from that institution, I learned a lot that once you are at work, this is how you carry yourself. So Harambee for me taught me how to carry myself at a working place, and guys, I ran with it. Because I understood that I am here to beg for a financial stability, not friendship. So fine, we moved past that, and we worked and worked. So as we work, one day, after a few days, this permanent lady goes to the prophet intern and tells her, please tell Solfelo ukuthi my mom and dad will deal with her. Apparently her mom and dad are sangomas, and I started to get scared for myself and for my kids as well, because they would come to work after school so that I can take them back home. And she said they're going to deal with her traditionally. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, When she told me that, I got scared. I don't want to lie. And I remember um, a day later, my cousin called me. I was miserable. I felt like I can't do this anymore. This department, it's too toxic for me, yet I am on a healing journey. I'm on a recovery journey. And each and every time I try to heal, there is something that drags me. And it's this environment. But it's actually one person in this environment with her friend. You understand? Guys, when my cousin called me to check up on me and say she dreamt about me being in trouble and she wanted to check if I was fine, guys, I broke out. I cried. I broke down. I cried. Like, I cried. I could not talk. And she asked, "What's wrong, Tulu? What's wrong?" Like, dude, things are hard at work. Things are not looking good for me at work. My life is being threatened, and oqala indaba yezangoma mina I don't even know ukuthi kuqalwaphi kugcinwephi. And for someone, a mother, a wife, to threaten you like that, knowing very well that you are there to beg for a bread for your kids, it actually makes things hard for me, guys. I was never so broken. Like, I felt like my world is being crushed. Okay, my cousin consoled me and said, "You know what? Do what you do best. Pray. There's nothing she can do." And mind you, nothing happened because I pray. I think even if she did try, nothing happened because the God that I pray doesn't wear skinny jeans, guys. Akafaki sport wami uNkulunkulu. And yeah, I made sure that each and every day, the threats that I would get. I remember one day she told, like, she's got a borderline personality disorder. She doesn't like anyone. She's, what's this name? She's misanthropy. She fights with everybody. She always finds a reason to make you suffer. She's also like a teacher's puppet. With the supervisors, she's fine because obviously she wants to go there and report everything. That's the permanent lady I'm talking about. And for her to drag an intern like that in her toxic environment, it was so very disappointing. If you could see her, guys, she's a presentable lady, a very beautiful lady, but you know when you are beautiful, but the way you carry yourself now makes you look ugly. That's how she looked to me. She ended up looking very ugly. Okay, time went by and went by. Her friend decided to be an online sangoma because I don't know whether she was tossing zona, kodwa nje tosa kwakhe was raising eyebrows because of the things she was doing. It's like, okay, fine. That's not our baby, that's not our business. But the threats were coming. Either way, they're still coming, Shem. How they will make my life a miserable hell. I remember one day she was telling other colleagues, the permanent lady, that one day she will take a thread, the swing thread, and she will dip it in a petrol, fasten it in my car, and start fire. Guys, I got shocked for my life. Actually, I was not the only one who got that threat that she's gonna burn our cars. It was almost every lady who owns a car in that department. She said she's going to do that with everyone. And we were like, but why? What kind of a person is this? What kind of a person who thinks evil things day in, day out? That's who she was. The only thing that she would feed herself, it's negative things about other people and negative things that she would do to people. I started to take, every time when I come to work, I would park in front of a door or on the window where I could see my car because now I was scared. And she said it's either she will smash our tires or she would burn our cars. I was like, but you can't say you are sane if that's how you think. there's no sanity in there. You are not okay upstairs. There is no way you are okay. Unfortunately enough, she never went through because, I mean, she was going to pay if she did that. She was going to pay. But she never stopped there. She never stopped there. 2022, before my contract ended, yeah, she continued being her own self, making threats. And I remember this other day, you know, when you digging your own grave, ne? And then you want to blame other people. So she was dating this other guy, and apparently the guy was married. So the guy found out that actually Mugelings is married, and yeah, he decided to break things up with her. So one day I remember um, her and the intern friend, they went to town. Apparently what happened is they took the boyfriend's phone and ran away with it because they were making threats that since you dumped me, you won't have this phone. And she hasn't only took the phone, but she's been threatening her using the state's vehicle and to threaten this guy to drive it and go make threats to this guy and his girlfriend. So she's been digging her own grave. So this other day, after taking the phone, after a few minutes or hours, here comes the police van with the boyfriend, and I was inside the house, the office, working, and the security guy calls me. Hey T, there are police officers outside. They're looking for so and so. Apparently she took her phone from this guy. And I said to the security guy, my guy, if it's those two, I do not want to be involved. And I made sure that I stay out of it. And I said, you are a security, deal with it, pass on the information to me, and then I will pass it to the supervisor. And I did exactly that. And earlier that day, Mugelings, it was very cold. So there's a fireplace at work, Moss. So it's very cold, and yeah, me and her colleagues, which are male colleagues, we were sitting on the fire. I was busy working. They were also busy with their drills and other things. So here she comes with her friend. They bought food, Moss, and they were on their high spirits. The guys usually don't like sitting with this girl because she's toxic to everyone, not just me. She was toxic to everyone. So they decided, okay, we will take it outside. They went to stay outside, and I decided to stay on my station and do what I know best. Back while I was working, more girlings, the audacity. She said, you know when God reveals your toxic ways. She said to her intern friend, you know, some people think they will come from other provinces and work here and take our jobs. That's not going to happen. I'm like, okay, this is me, Mose Kulunywangam. But I'm a South African. I'm not a South African. Unless if I was a foreigner, I was going to understand. I'm in South Africa, begging for employment in another province. So how is that wrong? But you know, when you're dealing with people with short common sense, yeah. And she was like, yeah, she thinks they'll come from wherever they come and they will take our jobs. That's not going to happen. I know people with higher ranks. The person she was referring to that has a higher rank, had moved from the town that we in to another town, and he actually moved to a higher rank. So there was no way that he was going to call shots from where he is to our town. But she had an audacity to say she and him and other people, they have a list of people that will be hired. And I was not even bothered, because I was like, even if I don't come back here, this place is toxic and I deserve better for my sanity. She had an audacity to say that. And the inner me said, record her. And I was like, I'm not going to record her. You know what? I'm not going to stoop that low. I'm not going to stoop to her level. It's fine. She can say whatever she wants to say. She can make me feel miserable. And it's not going to go anywhere. Instead, I sat and listened to her saying all these bad things that are going to happen. Apparently, Mr. So and so, now that he's in a higher rank in the province, I will make sure that he knows the ins and outs that are happening around here in town. This person and I. I'm not even gonna mention what they were doing. Apparently, that's what they were doing, and I was even shocked that how can you, as a person, be proud to say such things in a state of making other person feel bad. Okay, I kept quiet and I listened. So after me reporting the matter of the police coming and looking for her, she then made sure that she goes to the main department, that the department that is dealing with our departments. She went there and hey, she said a whole lot of lies, that I actually created the story of the police coming looking for her. That was actually her brother. She said a whole lot of things that were lies. But people knew that this is what she did with the company car, closing the road for the boyfriend not to move around, because she was threatening him and the girlfriend. So as she was digging her own grave, she did not realize that she's actually digging her own grave. And now that things were not looking good for her, she started to include other people, saying that we are making her life miserable at work, especially me, that I'm an intern. How can an intern come to work and make her suffer? And then they said, okay, you know what? Now that you are crying about all this abuse at work, how about we call a meeting and hear the sides of these other women's that. So I was no longer the only one who she was fighting. There's other permanent ladies that she was fighting as well. But there's this one lady who was not fortunate. She was always also like me, who was always the one blamed as well for her toxic traits. But every time when you hear their side of the story, you will see that this one upstairs is not okay. She's dealing with a lot. She's a misanthropy, and she's got borderline personality disorder. That's who she is. And yeah, she then said to the management, you know what, I don't want Solofelo in there because she's an intern. What am I going to talk with an intern? Girl, didn't you say I'm abusing you at work? How am I abusing you and then you don't want me to tell my side of the story? And mind you, at the time, the management was, since the job that I was doing, it was now vacant. It was not that I'm saying they were considering to hire me, but they were considering to make me their first priority when they hire, since I'm still in the department before my contract ends. So she went out of her way to make sure that she paints my name black. And she succeeded, guys. She succeeded to a point that one manager, she believed her when she said, I'm toxic. She described me as this toxic person. She described me as this horrible person. And her, the management, not knowing me, she believed her because she was her puppet in a way. That's what I had. She was a teacher's puppet, a management's puppet. She would report things that are not supposed to be reported by her, because each and every department has a supervisor, a team leader, or whatsoever that is there. But her being her, she used whatever that she used to persuade the management to think that she tells the truth. Guys guys working environments are very toxic. And in her story, when they later realized that each and everything that she said, it was never true. It was never true. And instead, she made the department suffer. She made the department suffer, not only the teams, not only the workers, but also the management. They later realized that actually this person, she's a toxic person, and she is making things difficult and other people not to work well. But because people understand that when you are at work, you are actually not there for people, you are actually there for other people. And guys, when you are dealing with people like that, you need to be emotionally intelligent. And that's what I've learned, that you know what, throughout the journey of being that intern, I have learned to be emotionally intelligent. And today I want to say I thank her for everything that she has taught me about toxic traits of colleagues, because now no one is gonna do that to me ever again. Never. No one. So you guys, that's my story about toxic environment at work and borderline personality disorder colleagues, as well as witchcraft. But guys, one thing that I will always emphasize is that pray for the positions that you are in. People are not happy out there. People will always make sure that you don't succeed with what you want. And with that being said, take care of yourselves, take care of your sanity, take care of your health. I love you.